And then you look at the distance from the center of the frame to the lens flare or the object you're seeing, and you most always find it's exactly the same. And what they're seeing is lens flare most of the time.
Well, that's what happens when, J.J. Abrams is out hiking.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, it kind of makes me wonder with these, because cameras have mirrors in them. And, when I take photo shots of the moon, there is that little ball that comes off at the end, which isn't planet Nibiru. It's just the lens reflecting from the moonlight.
That you've got the sensor inside too.
Yeah.
But you're right, and that was what I looked at in this situation. I thought about, okay, I haven't seen it in a situation with a trail camera, but when they take pictures of the let's say a sunset, the distance from the sun itself to the center of the frame, and the distance from the center of the frame to their object they're seeing are identical. Well, I looked at the image from the trail camera, the distance from the center of the frame to the deer, and the distance from the center of the frame to those 8 lights was identical.
So is this like that? I tend to watch this goofy show called Paranormal Caught on Camera, and apparently someone in, I don't know, the South Seas or something caught a photo, and the way I was looking at it, they were saying, they caught this weird photo of double suns, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, it just looks like a cloud is coming down and kind of splitting the large sun into what looks like 2 ovals. But they kept saying, this kind of an optical illusion, we can't figure out how it's done. I'm like, it just looks like the clouds. Why are you saying this? So it was kind of weird.
And that's one that drives me crazy too. Now we're basically on house arrest. I think we look at it that way. I mean, how many shows can you watch during the day? And I turn on some of the shows, and sometimes I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Some of the stuff that's put out just to draw ratings and to sell airtime, basically. Some of them are pretty bad.
That's why the Ghost Hunters are directed by their producers. If you want to stay on the air, you have to call the ghost a demon.
That would drive me crazy.
It drives me crazy all the time. I just want to reach through and smack them. I'm like, not everything's a demon.
Wow.
Well, I'm looking forward to the days with mirrorless cameras because it'll stop some of this from happening. But it drives me crazy. I do it for just a photogenic look of getting that second moon in there, which is usually blue. Mm-hmm. And, it's done on purpose, but some of these people who don't really use their cameras correctly. And the other thing I see is they're taking it indoors and you get light shining from an interior light.
I've had that too. And there was one not long ago that was popping up on the internet. And people were saying it couldn't be lights from inside the house. And my first response is, okay, if you just want to verify it, here's how a simple way you do it.
Go outside.
Yeah, exactly. If you're taking a picture through patio doors, go on the other side of patio doors and take a picture going the other way.
There's an Instagram photo of this beautiful lake and these clouds, and the poster even says the reflection of my ceiling light looks like a UFO, and you look at it and there's this orange glowing, it looks like a UFO, and he says he just points out this is a reflection of my kitchen light, and the jokey response to the comment was, oh yeah, nice try, but that's definitely a UFO. But of course he was being facetious as well. Yeah. So my question is, are you on Instagram?
No.
You should be, because there's so much cool stuff on there, both funny and paranormal and UFOs.
Well, it's the same as I don't go on Twitter either. I don't tweet.
Well, yeah, Twitter is become a nightmare.
Yeah. But I don't, and sometimes just because of the fact that, so much stuff comes in as it is already, that it's a challenge keeping up with some of it. And I've had the same type of photographs you're talking about, Jeffrey, where I had one come from Canada that they sent me to review. And it was actually 3 lights reflecting off of patio doors. But, I mean, it really was a cool photograph, though. I think we lost Jeffrey.
No, I'm here. I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but it was a great photograph. But I sometimes I've been tempted to go onto things like the Instagram, but on the other hand, I'm like, do I want to or not?
Well, there's, like I say, both a lot of very funny stuff, a lot of creepy stuff, and a lot of funny creepy stuff. Because there are ones that have the two sentence horror stories that you read the first sentence, your brain puts it in one perspective, and then the second one's like, oh, that went dark really fast.
Wow.
That's like my twisted sense of humor stuff.
I was looking around at different MUFON directors, the state directors, and it struck me that there is so many of them that only lists an email. They don't even have a website. Why is it that state directors, they don't have actual websites?
And careful, Thomas. He's dating other MUFON directors. So.
Oh, really?
No. I was just looking up to see who was where. The different. I seen one on one of the shows somewhere, and they was talking about some UFOs, and I just thought, well, I'll look them up, and I started looking all around because I didn't know which director they were. And I got to looking, I said, half of these don't even have a website. All they give you is an email. So how do they, do they have websites and they just don't want to publish it? Or you can only contact them by email?
Well, it varies a number of times. Each state, can set up their own website if they want. I'm lucky enough to have a webmaster who's handled ours for a number of years. This way he maintains the website, post all my stuff for me I need. And he's even got an email. What I do is I've got one email that goes to our Ohio MUFON site that he relays the information on to me. And I hate to admit it, but a number of times I'm not bright enough, Henry, to figure out that when I respond to the email, I have to change the email to the person's email address who sent it in, not send it back to my webmaster.
Oops.
And he jokingly sends me an email saying, "Hey, dummy, you did it again," basically. But it's up to each state. Now, here's one thing you can run into is some states they don't have that many people in MUFON working the state itself. So you could basically have a state director who's doing investigations and other things along with it. So it's like they've got their plate full. And they don't have enough time to do the website, or they may have just their email address listed on MUFON, and I'm not sure why they don't, have it out. Other than that, I can't respond to that, but they just don't have the website itself, just because of, not enough people volunteering in that state. But here's another thing: when you get certain states, now I can't think of any off the top of my head, but just to throw a couple possibilities out there. What if you've got a state like South Dakota, North Dakota? You may not even have anybody within that state that is, stepping up to volunteer for MUFON. So what may happen is they may have another individual handling that state that doesn't live in that state. There's a number of those across the country where the individual that's the state director doesn't live there. And they're just handling that state to take care of it for MUFON. Now, if somebody from that state becomes interested, they show a strong enough interest, they show they're dependable and so forth, they could potentially put somebody from their own state then back in that position. That would be I think, MUFON's first choice. But if you don't have anybody stepping up to volunteer to help out, that's another problem. So when you see somebody from a certain state, that state director may not necessarily be there if somebody hasn't stepped up.
Do you think that maybe the state itself is not getting that many reports of UFOs?
That's the other thing that can happen, because here in Ohio, we'll get, let's see, last year we had like between 250, 300 cases alone come into Ohio. This year, chances are we're going to go over that, the way it looks right now, even with the shutdown, we're going to go over that. But then you've got other states who may be lucky to get 1 or 2 a month. So that goes along with it, then, Henry, that, there's just not enough cases coming in. But here's the thing that could happen. Here where I'm from in Ohio, we've had a long history of UFO research groups. One of the groups I was with, the Cleveland Ufology Project, they were founded in 1952. And until the virus came up, they were still meeting to this day, it's one of the oldest groups in the world, without a doubt, that's continually meeting. We've had a number of other groups over all those years. And the thing about it is you've got people out there promoting UFO research, getting cases. Like here in Ohio, there's a gentleman that was named John Timmerman. John Timmerman, back years ago, back in, 1980s, he was going out to shopping malls. He was setting displays up in shopping malls of UFO pictures, UFO investigations, and what he had is a little area all blocked off where you basically had to give a donation to get in, if I remember correctly. And he would show people all this information about UFOs, but then what he would do is, hey, have you ever seen a UFO yourself? Yeah. So he would get the reports, and he would document that stuff. But it was a great way of promoting that things, and he did something that was just like out of the box. Well, actually, I had two or three friends submit reports back in the 80s that I was able to pull the data up on when they told me about it, because he kept that information all those years, and I was able to access it.